The final Powerless novella, Fearful, is just around the corner, and a lot of people are writing it off as a simple side story. I think they're dead wrong. I've gone back through the entire series and I'm convinced the clues to the grand finale aren't just in this new book. They've been staring at us in the face from the very beginning. Today we're breaking down the 3 biggest rules that I believe predict the ultimate fate of Ilya, and it's probably not what you're expecting. Okay, before we get into the good stuff, let's set the scene and slap a giant spoiler warning on this. If you are not fully caught up with Powerless, Reckless, and Powerful and Fearless, this is your final chance to bail because we are about to ruin everything for you. Instead, I'd suggest you go and watch my previous videos of me reviewing the Powerless series as a whole. You can get the links in description. Also, if you want to buy Fearful, then you can also get it on the link in the description below. So, where were we? The kingdom of Ilya is, to put it mildly, a complete mess. After King Edred's death at Paedyn's hand, his eldest son Kitt Azer took the throne, but his reign ended in tragedy. His big plan to unite elites and ordinaries by marrying Paedyn blew up his face, leading to his own death. Now his younger brother Kai, the former enforcer, is left trying to hold a fractured kingdom together with Paedyn, the powerless girl who became reluctant icon of the rebellion. The entire social hierarchy built on the brutal division between the powerful and the powerless is starting to crumble. And this brings us to Fearful. This novella, dropping on September 2nd, 2025, zooms in on 2 key players, Kitt Azer and a mysterious figure named Mara, who is literally described as Death. It's set during the chaos of Fearless and promises to unpack Kitt's mindset as his world fell apart, and why Death herself suddenly took an interest in him as he was destined for Moore's The Afterlife. Most will read this as tragic, gothic romance meant to flesh out a character we lost. But I think it's the key. This isn't just a side story, it's the final piece of a puzzle. Thematic Clue 1. The Plague and the Propaganda. Yes, the first huge clue isn't a person or an object, but an idea that's been drilled into us since page 1. The Plague. Throughout the series, it's the one phrase that everyone in power uses. Think the plague. It's used to celebrate good fortune, but it's celebrating the very disaster that created elites and kicked the oppression of ordinaries. This isn't just a quirky world-building detail, it's the bedrock of the royal family propaganda. King Edric built his reign on the idea that power is strength and being powerless is a sickness. Paedyn has always been counterpoint to this. She sees the plague for what it is, the source of people's misery, and she refuses to say the praise. This tug-of-war over the meaning of the plague is the central battle for the kingdom's soul. So, where does Fearful fit in? The official synopsis said that Mara returns to Ilya, a place she never intended to set foot in again, because the king makes a life-altering decision. I don't think Mara is just metaphor for death. My theory is that she is a direct physical connection to the plague itself. Her return isn't a coincidence, it's a reaction to the kingdom spiraling out of control, a sign that the fundamental forces of the world are re-emerging. So I'm calling it now. Mara's story will blow the lid off the true origin of the plague. It wasn't random, but something that was started, and maybe, just maybe, something that can be undone. Her very presence suggests that the elite power isn't a permanent state. If Death is personally invested in Ilya's politics, the stakes are way bigger than who's on the throne. The final won't be about political victory, it's going to be about rewriting the rules of reality. Thematic Clue 2. The Tragedy of Kitt Azer, the Sacrificial King. The second clue is hidden in the tragic story of Kitt Azer. For most of the series, Kitt was the dutiful older brother, the reluctant heir, and the third wheel in the very messy love triangle. But Fearful shoves him into the spotlight, because the story is framed around Death wanting to understand his mind. Why him? Because Kitt's fate represents the devastating cost for power and love in this world. You can see the proof in here. The tagline for Fearful is "Love too grand, it kills." Sure, this point is to a doomed romance between Kitt and Mara, but I think it goes deeper. His entire life was about sacrifice. He was ready to marry Paedyn, a woman he didn't love, just to unite the kingdom. He struggled under the weight of father's tyranny, trying to be a better man. His death wasn't just a shocking plot twist, it was the final act of a man completely trapped by crown. Here's my prediction. Fearful is going to show us that Kitt knew he was going to die. His time with Mara won't just be a romance, it will be a negotiation. I think she will show him what the true price of the crown, the endless cycle of bloodshed it demands, and he will make a choice. His death wasn't just a tragic consequence of the conflict. I believe it was a deliberate sacrifice to something much bigger. This completely reframes his actions in Fearless. What looked like erratic behavior fueled by grief was actually the calculated strategy of someone playing a game with fate itself. He wasn't losing his mind, he was seeing the ugly truth. This makes Kitt's story absolutely essential. Kai and Paedyn are fighting to win the war, but Kitt was fighting to end the entire game. His tragedy will be what makes Kai realize the throne can't be won, it has to be destroyed. The third and, in my opinion, most important clue is Mara herself. The official descriptions are very careful with their words, calling her a mysterious figure and death, who had no intention of ever returning to Ilia. Why did she leave in the first place? And what could possibly bring her back now? This is where I think the biggest bombshell of the series is waiting. I predict that Mara is just not some type of supernatural force. She's a historical figure from Ilia's past, maybe even one of the original people connected to the plague. Her name, Mara, often translates to bitterness or sorrow, which fits perfectly. Her return to witness the fight for the throne hints that she has a personal stake in how it all plays out. If I'm right, that connects everything. If Mara is linked to the origin of powers, her return means those powers can be taken away. She is living the embodiment of the history King Edric tried to erase with the propaganda. She isn't interested in Kitt just because he's dying, she's interested in him because as king he holds the key to the kingdom's entire power structure. Their story in Fearful will be more than a romance, it will be a massive revelation of how this world's magic actually works. This has been the theme all along. Paedyn, the powerless girl who constantly outsmarts the superpowered elites, has been laying groundwork for this. Her strength was never about gaining power for herself, it was about proving that power was never the true measure of a person's worth. Mara's return is the final proof the system is artificial and can be torn down. The ultimate prediction. So what happens when we put it all together? The lie of the plague, Kitt's sacrifice, and Mara's return to all the point one earth-shattering conclusion to the Powerless saga. This is my ultimate prediction. The series won't end with Paedyn or Kai ruling a united Ilia like we got. It will end with the opposite destruction of powers and the fall of the monarchy itself. I believe Mara will expose the truth about the plague, revealing that powers were never a gift but a curse that can be. Third, this will shatter the very foundation of the elite society, as we've seen that the elite society will sometime come to a rest, so I think Mara is here to complete that mission. So the climax won't be battle for the throne but a ritual of choice that goes to the plague. Also, since it'll be a bittersweet ending, the fantasy world we know too will be gone, leaving the characters to build something new from the ashes, a world where the only power that matters is character. So, it's your turn now. By connecting the dots between plague's propaganda, Kitt's tragic sacrifice, and the mystery of Mara, the endgame seems to become much clearer now. It's not much about who should rule, it's about building a world that doesn't need to be ruled by force. So those are just my theories. What have you picked up on? What did I miss? Let me know your prediction for the finale in the comments below. I want to hear all of them. Since then, see you in our next video.